I am Penny Douglas, and I'm here with Melanie Young, and I wanted to ask her some questions. We just finished with our Come Away Weekend Marriage Retreat, which was wonderful. Anyone who wants to get away with their wife or husband for a little bit should come with Hal and Melanie to their Come Away Marriage Retreat. Like, when is it, the next one?
The next one is going to be in March on St. Simon's Island, and you can find it at raisingrealmen.com. Just hit the shop and scroll down to live events.
So I highly recommend it. This is our third one that we've been to, and they have all been amazing and just really helpful to our marriage. And I just talked to a friend who said that Hal and Melanie's ministry has changed their home.
Wow,
So-
God is so good.
Yes.
God is amazing. We have really enjoyed having you guys this weekend. It's been fun to see you again and to
Yeah.
catch up a little bit.
I feel like family since I got to
I know,
hold
right?
your little grandson.
You did. You got to hold
Yeah.
them. It's been fun. My son and his wife have been here with their baby, and that's been a treat for me.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I just had a few questions that I wanted to ask Melanie, and if my phone will let me, I will ask. What has been the role of prayer in your homeschool and family life?
You know, absolutely essential. I'm a worrywart, and I have a tendency to get anxious and worry about things. And the Lord used, Hal was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. It's been like 8 years ago. And that was just a crushing burden to me. Hal and I are best friends. And I realized that if I just ran the direction I normally do with that I was not going to make it. And so I began to realize that this anxiety and this worry that we all have as moms, as wives, as homeschool moms, wanting to do the best for our families.
Yeah.
That was really not from God, because perfect love casts out fear.
Right.
And so I started, every time I feel this crushing burden of anxiety, I would pray instead.
That's
And
right.
the crushing burden stopped coming, and the anxiety stopped coming. And I recently heard my friend Heidi St. John speak about this. She was talking about the story of King Jehoshaphat in 2 Chronicles 19 and 20. And she mentioned that King Jehoshaphat, when he was facing a tremendous army arrayed against Israel, he put the guys worshiping God in front of the army.
Right. The
You know?
worshipers first.
Yeah, and what faith that was. And it says that when they began to pray that God went to battle for
The
them.
worshipers had to have a lot of faith.
Yeah, they
They
did.
went out there
And,
facing the enemy.
and so it encouraged me that I need to stop worrying and do more worship and more prayer than worry.
Yes, I agree. I believe that is the way that God wants us to live as Christians.
Yes.
And as homeschool moms, we should be, we should epitomize a Christian woman being a Christian homeschool mom. We need to set that example for our children too.
And it's so powerful, it really is, because we have prayed with our kids. We've faced so many needs as we've been in full-time ministry.
Mm-hmm.
And we've gotten on our knees with our kids and prayed for the Lord to provide. And one of my
Yes.
sons told me, he said, Mom, I know it's taken me a while to find a wife. He's in his 20s. He said, well, I've got to find a wife that has a lot of faith. I said, well, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
And he said,
That's important.
I have seen God take care of you guys and provide for you guys. And I am willing to follow him wherever he goes. I've got to have a wife who can handle that.
That's very good.
And
Yeah.
so, when we take our fear and anxiety and we lay it for the cross and we worship God regardless, it tremendously impacts our kids.
Yes, I believe that. Great. Okay. Now, I have another question. What are your highest priorities for what you want your children to learn before they leave home?
My highest priority is I want them to know the gospel. And I want them to know what it means to be a Christian and to know what the Christian life looks like. I want them to be full up with the Word of God. Beyond that, I want them to be prepared to be adults. I want them to know how to manage life and to be confident, to have the skills to manage a home, and to be mature in their decision making. Know when to seek wise counsel.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to be people of good character. And so the spiritual stuff and the character is way more important to me than the academics, but we're academic fanatics.
Right.
And we will, all of our 4 adult kids have gone to college and done well at college, gotten scholarships. But I think that if you put the academics first, you get things upside down.
Yes.
Because this is the really critical thing. When our kids leave home, all we will have is relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Because when they leave, all we've got is their relationship with God and their relationship with us. And if we don't have a good relationship with our kids, when they leave home, we've got nothing. We've got nothing.
We'll lose all touch with them.
We'll lose touch with them. We have no impact in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's my number one goal.
Yes.
When they leave home is to have a good relationship with them and to encourage them to have a good relationship with God.
Yes.
Because anything else, we can work it out.
Right. Great. Okay. And my phone keeps closing up on me. How can we help our children to develop their own personal relationship with God?
I think one of the most important things is to be aware when they are preteens. That is very common in the 9 to 13 age range for them to undergo spiritual doubt. Because when they're little, they believe because we tell them it's true.
Right.
But then when they hit that change where their emotions are all over the place and their brains are remodeling and they're able to analyze things, when they're able to say, okay, well, mom and dad believe this, but other people believe that. Mm-hmm. And it's very, very, very common for them to have spiritual doubts, even if they never say anything to you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And those are the ones you have to really watch out for. But I think if we address their spiritual doubts at that age, work through some apologetics materials with them, things like Mere Christianity, the Case for Christ, those things are going to help them get answers to those questions.
Mm-hmm. And think through
yes,
very thoroughly. Mm-hmm.
That has been enormously important in our kids' lives. But if you have a child who's a teen and maybe you missed that, maybe they didn't ask any questions and you realize at 16 or 17 that they don't know the Lord, it's not all lost. Instead, you take them to the Word and you tell them how the Lord saved you and why it's important, and you encourage them to believe, and you pray like mad, and you work on your relationship. Because the biggest predictor that a child raised in the Christian faith will stay in the faith as an adult is whether they have a good relationship with a Christian mother or Christian father.
Wow.
And boy, that really hits you hard.
Mm-hmm.
That that the Lord is pleased so often to use our relationship in the salvation of our kids.
Wow, I didn't really know that. That's really great.
Yeah, it really puts that an exclamation point after relationship.
Yes,
this is important.
So important. Wow. Okay. Have you ever done anything that seemed illogical because you felt that God was telling you to do it?
Our kids would say all the time. This ministry. Hal was an engineer. I was a housewife. We never dreamed that we'd be doing what we're doing. And yet, the Lord put us in this position when we began speaking about writing books we began speaking about raising boys because we were in homeschool leadership. And then people would always ask us, do you have a book? And we'd say, no, we don't have a book, we have a family. Right. Then we were invited to speak at a conference. We'd never been invited to speak at something big, out of our state. And Hal said, maybe it's time to write our book. And I said, you're crazy.
Don't have time to write.
Don't have time. I had a sick infant, really seriously sick, life-threatening sick. And I freaked out, but the Lord wouldn't let me sleep that night. And so the next day, the kids were doing what they were supposed to do after lunch. That's pretty rare. I picked a topic out of the air and I started writing it. I wrote maybe 2,500 words and sent it up to Hal and in his office, and he wrote what he thought in and through what I'd written, and we had our first chapter.
Wow. And
we're still thinking, though, this is going to be something that we just put on the table.
A little short story.
Yeah, put on the table when we spoke in the
Article.
Carolinas. Mm-hmm. And the Lord exploded it. And within 6 months, we were speaking and writing full time. And people ask us all the time, how do you become an author and a speaker? I said, talk to the Lord. I have no idea.
Wow.
You know, but all that made no sense.
Right.
But it was clearly God's plan. We've been full-time writers and speakers for 9 years now.
Wow. And you've written how many books?
7.
Wow.
We've written 7 books.
That is amazing.
And
in a short time. How long? And how many years has
it's
it?
been 9 years.
Wow.
But we never dreamed, you know.
That's amazing. And it's just been God.
It's all the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
You know, please, you know, when the Lord wants you to do something and you're obedient to Him, the increase is His. It's all Him. You know, we've been blessed to have 6 boys, and that gave us experience raising boys. But everything that has come out of this ministry has been the Lord, and it's been a delight and a pleasure and an honor to see what He's doing.
Well, and the topic of marriage is so important too, and you've been able to really go into that, and we really need to strengthen marriages and Christian marriages in particular.
We really do. We're seeing marriage breakups all over the country in good, godly, Christian, often homeschool families that just, many times they didn't get a good toolbox of relationship tools from their own parents. And they need to know, you know, how to have conflict without tearing each other up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how to communicate, how to be friends, and that's what Come Away Weekend is about. You know?
That's a big part of what we've learned, and it's been really good.
Yeah, just to kind of a checkup to make sure we got the tools that we need for our marriages.
Yeah, that's great. So that's illogical, but
Yeah.
God's ways don't make sense to us a lot of
No,
times.
they don't.
Yeah. How do you help anxious people not to be so anxious?
This is me. I come from a family, a long line of anxious people, and I think.
How have you helped yourself not to
Yeah,
be so
seriously.
anxious?
I think some of it sometimes is physiological, and that's why this stuff runs in families. You know, fish oil and probiotics and vitamin D, those things can all be a big help. But ultimately, the biggest help is we've got to realize that God is God.
Right.
And that He loves us.
Mm-hmm.
And that we don't have to earn His love by meeting a checklist.
Right.
That He already loves us all that is possible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so,
just because He made us, He
because,
loves
yes,
us. Mm-hmm.
He made us, His Son died for us, He wraps us in the righteousness of Christ. We don't have to legalistically earn His favor.
Right.
We already have His favor.
Right.
He already delights in